So when did you start in dogs, and what made you choose the breeds you chose?
It's about 10 years ago, and I was young. I was like 14 years old, and I chose the Presa Canario because I had been seeing them online for years because I've always loved dogs. I had Boston Terriers and Cocker Spaniels and German Shepherds and that kind of shit when I was a kid, but I wanted something different. And so I started looking into Cane Corsos, and then that led me into Dogo Argentinos, and that led me into Presas. And when I was a kid, I saw Sanders Kennels. And I was like, oh, this guy's awesome. He's got like 50 dogs. They all do this protection work, and, I want to know how this works. So when I was 14, I asked my grandmother, I was like, listen, I've been talking to you about buying me a dog, and this is where I want to get it from. I said, we're going to need, probably $1,500 or $2,000. And that's, because that's just what they go for. And she was like, okay. So she drove me up to Dawsonville, Georgia. I knew I couldn't afford a puppy because puppies were $3,000. So I called ahead of time and I said, hey, Noah, do you have anything that's older that you would let go of for like $1,000 or $1,500? And he was like, yeah, I've got a bunch of young females, anywhere from 9 months old to about a year and a half. I've got too many. I'm not keeping all of them for my program. So if you want to, you can come and pick one up. And I said, all right. So I went out there. I looked over the kennels. I looked over the dogs. We took them out. We interacted with them. I walked away with a 10-month-old female for $1,000. She was just the best dog I ever had. She was fantastic. She protected me with her life. She had incredible prey drive, incredible trainability, and I was hooked. And about 6 months later, I decided that I definitely wanted more of these dogs. So I called someone else that I had been in contact with in Florida, and he told me he had some adult Presas he was looking to let go of. And so I said, all right, I came down. I came there just to buy a male to breed with my female. And I ended up purchasing a male who was about 5 years old at the time named King. King was off of Red Star Harif. Red Star Harif was from Red Star Kennels, who back in the day of Presas in the early 2000s, they were the it people. They were a big name. So he was a Red Star Harif son bred to Sanders Malibu. So he was also, some of the same blood as my female, which I liked, So I bought him for $500. The guy then told me, hey, I've got 2 of his daughters in the back. If you want to take them with you as well, I'll just give them to you. And I was like, all right, I got them. These dogs had never seen a vehicle, a person other than him, anything. They were crazy skittish, crazy nervy, crazy wanting to bite me. It took me 3 days to get them out of their crates when I got them home. And ever since then, man, I bred King and Chica, and those are my first breeding pair of Presas, and I've been doing Presas ever since. On and off, I've had as few as 3 or 4, and I've had as many as 30.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because, I did the quick breed video on Presa Canario, but what separates the Presa from, say, the Dogo or the Corso? What is different about them?
As far as a Presa goes, now, Dogos are an amazing breed. I've owned them. I love them. They're awesome dogs. I want to incorporate them in my Bandogs. However, those are more along the lines of a hog dog, I feel personally. You get more prey drive out of them than you do man drive most of the time, depending obviously on who you buy your dog from, but I'm talking on an average basis. The Dogo would be more of a hog dog, a hunting dog to me. A Presa is more of a man dog. I chose them because of consistency of temperament. I didn't like the inconsistencies I saw in the Cane Corso. I liked the fact that I saw that more than half of a litter of Presas usually had some workability, which is a consistency that I hadn't seen in a lot of other Molossers. I think among the medium-sized working Molosser field, that the Presa Canario is over the Cane Corso and the Dogo Argentino for versatility and consistency of workability. That's not to say that there isn't an exceptional Cane Corso that will beat out a mediocre Presa, because there sure is. Mm-hmm. But not on a case-by-case basis, but on the whole, I feel the Presa is superior to other Molossers in the same category. That is my answer 90% of the time, unless you find exceptional examples of other breeds. Another breed I'm a big fan of as far as consistency of temperament is the Borbal.
Tell the world what you have going on right now as far as all your programs. Tell the world, like, all your crosses, exactly what you're doing. Just enlighten people on what, Chambers K9 has going on.
Sure, absolutely. Right now, I'm in the process of rebuilding gradually a Presa Canario program, because I have had, very few of them over the last couple of years. And so I've just started buying some new stock for that program. Basically what I'm trying to do, I have a stud named Bravo. He is a physically and as far as trainability exceptional animal. He is what I want my male Presas to look like. The reason that I have purchased females from different lines than him is because he comes from a lot of show lines. And I don't want just a show type of a dog. So I've purchased some females with Iron Bull blood, Irema Corto, and a few other lines that I feel are going to enhance the workability of his offspring. Mm-hmm.
So we were talking off record before, and you mentioned something about performance and workability crossed to the look of things as far as the Presas are concerned. Right. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I want a dog who aesthetically pleases me and who looks like a Presa Canario. I don't want my dog to look like an American Pitbull Terrier cross Bandog. I don't want them to look that way, because it is supposed to be a Presa Canario. They're a Molosser. They're supposed to have an intimidating presence. They're supposed to have a certain set. I believe in the breed standard 100%. I believe a lot of people, when they start talking about the working dogs, they lose sight of the standard, and they lose sight of what the dog is supposed to look like. Because if you're talking about preserving a breed, you can't just preserve the traits that you want. You have to preserve the dog as a whole.
What is a Bullherder, and why did you get involved?
So a Bullherder is a cross of any bull breed with any herding breed, technically. The typical cross you're going to see is American Pitbull Terrier and Malinois. But I've seen a lot of dogs that are American Bulldog with Dutch Shepherd and Malinois. I've seen Presa bred to Malinois, and I've seen some great results from those dogs. The Bullherder brings a trainability, a handler focus, and a tenacity that I don't see from a lot of stubborn bull breeds. And so I want to incorporate a Bullherder or several Bullherders into my Bandog program to bring up the trainability, the handler focus, and just the overall intelligence of the dog.
Can you dive deeper on that? Like, the Malinois is definitely handler focused, and they're more of a militant breed. But then, of course, when you're tossing in the bull breeds, those are the no quit attitude type breeds. Have you ever had any problems with maybe the dominance of the shepherd types crossing over into the bull breed, or vice versa?
Absolutely. And that's why culling, and I don't mean culling in the sense of killing a dog, I mean culling in the sense of pet homes, or whatever your version of culling is an extremely important part of any band dog or any working dog program, because there's going to be puppies in a Bullherder litter that aren't cut out for the job. Because simply put, you're taking two breeds that have nothing to do with each other and throwing them together with the hope of the best results. You're not always going to get the best results. You have to be able to determine which ones are the best and go from there. Because you're going to get some dogs that are overly stubborn. You're going to get some dogs that don't have the desired temperament, that don't have the desired structure, that just don't have what you're looking for. So you have to learn how to select from a litter. And sometimes that requires keeping puppies until they're 3, 4, 5 months old, because you don't know which puppy's going to have what you're looking for.
Okay. So on your yard right now, how many breeds do you have as far as the crosses? Give the whole layout for the listeners so they know exactly what you're doing.
All right, right now, as far as breeds as the whole, I've got a Borbal Cane Corso stud named Zeus, who came from Boxford Bandoggies. They temperament and health tested all of their animals, exceptional breeders, and he's an exceptional animal. I use American Bulldog, American Pitbull Terrier, working lines of American Bully, Presa Canario, some Cane Corso crosses. I don't have any purebred Cane Corsos, but I do have Corso crosses. Mm-hmm. And I also have, of course, the Bullherder, which is American Pitbull Terrier, Malinois, and Dutch Shepherd. I'm also working with a Dalmatian puppy, which is my wife, girlfriend's project. She wants to create sort of a mock herder using the intelligence and trainability of the Dalmatian with the bull breeds.
Okay. Now, how many generations in on that are you, or is that just a brand new project?
That is brand new. Okay. Right off the rip, this is the first Dalmatian that I've personally worked with. I've seen several other people, including Cali catchers, using them for catch work, mm-hmm. and it intrigued me because I never thought of a Dalmatian as being a catching type of a dog or a hunting dog in general. Mm-hmm. I had thought of the breed as pretty much ruined like I do many others. Mm-hmm. I was able to find an example of the breed who does not have any hearing issues, doesn't have any health issues, and has an amazing temperament that I think will bring something to the table when she's put to a bull breed.
So for the listeners, what does the Dalmatian bring to the table?
Well, essentially, I could get more elaboration from my girlfriend. She's the one who's super interested in these dogs. But essentially what she's trying to bring is the same things as the Malinois brings: intelligence, trainability, athleticism, willingness to please, but on a less intense scale, so they're a little easier to work with. Because Malinois are not for a novice trainer. They're not for a novice dog person at all, because they're a very high-intensity animal.
Okay. That makes sense. When it comes to the Bandog, we've been talking before, and you did mention Lee. You brought up Reptar and a couple of his dogs on his yard. What was the end goal, and who did you want to breed one of Lee's dogs to?
I have an American Pitbull Terrier, American Bulldog cross female named Rosie with an extremely high prey drive, who I am considering taking to one of H. Lee's studs. I believe that his dogs will bring the man drive that she lacks. She has an extreme prey drive, but not a lot of man drive. Mm-hmm. And I want to bring out some of the man drive while maintaining the prey drive, because I do want catch dogs, but I want them to be able to work a man as well.
Okay, so if you were to break down your whole yard, and I know you have 30 plus dogs, if you were to break down your whole yard, how many programs do you have happening at this moment?
At this moment, I would say 3, with another 2 to 3 in concept. I have a lot of projects that are still in the concept phase, some that are not even have the dogs purchased for those projects yet. Okay. I plan on making the Bullherder and the Bandog project one. I want to bring them together so that eventually all of my Bandogs have, even a small percentage of my Bullherder in them.
So your Bullherder, just to reiterate, your Bullherder is crossed with what?
American Pitbull Terrier, Dutch Shepherd, and Malinois.
That's a nasty combination. That is something very, very serious.
Absolutely. And her intelligence and her handler focus and her trainability are all very much on point. She had proven herself to produce workers before I even purchased her. Mm-hmm. She has a 7-month-old son who's working on PSA right now. Amazing animal. Amazing animal.
Okay. So you've spoke about before, just in our own conversation, of a watchdog female or some type of bully female from the old blood.
Yes.
Talk
yes.
a little more about that. Let people know who that is.
I have a female named Layla, who is from old Razor's Edge bloodlines combined with Watchdog bloodlines. I'm a big fan of the older bully lines like Gaff, Watchdog, Gray Line, and I have incorporated those with her. And I also have a female Bandog from Sam McCool of Copperhead Road Kennels. She is 50% Connie Corso and 50% watchdog / sorrels. So she's 25% game dog, 25% American bully, and 50% Connie Corso. And she has a litter on the ground right now that at 5 weeks old are exhibiting a lot of the features that I was hoping for from that crossing.
Very cool. The American bully. Let's talk about that for a second.
Sure.
You and I both know what we expected from the American bully when it first came to the scene versus where it is now.
Yeah.
What do you look
Absolutely.
for? What do you look for personally in the American bully?
If I'm going to use an American bully, then I have to have the drive, the guardability, everything that it was intended to have in the very beginning. Really, the stuff that you saw before the name American Bully even came about. Mm-hmm. I prefer the older type dogs. I don't like the shorter, squatty, wide-headed, useless dogs. They don't have a purpose. Grant you, Chihuahuas do not have a purpose. So 100%, do you on what you want to do. But if I'm going to own an American bully, then it's going to have to be able to do its job, because I don't feed 80-pound dogs or more to have a dog who won't protect me. Mm-hmm. What some people call an XL Pitbull or a working pit bulldog is what I expect out of an American bully.
Right. American bullies were game dogs crossed to Amstaffs, and there was some Mastiff influence.
Absolutely, or you wouldn't have 100-plus pound dogs without a Mastiff. I grew up thinking that 80 to 90-pound blue dogs were pit bulls, because that's what everybody called them.
Yeah.
Now, those dogs, a lot of the time, were man-aggressive. Those dogs, a lot of the time, wouldn't let you come in the yard. But they weren't pit bulls. They were bullies.
They were called pit bulls, but this was before the name bully was even attached to them.
Right, and even now you see a plague of people who don't understand the difference, who label 80 to 100-pound blue dogs as pit bulls. And the problem is people treat the word pit bull like an umbrella term when that's not what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Honest opinion, to me, UKC American Pit Bull Terriers most of the time are Amstaffs, in my opinion.
Yes, just without the nose color restriction.
Right.
Exactly.
So,
okay.
In my opinion, if you want to talk about a show type and a working type Pit Bull Terrier, then you're talking about a Pit Bull Terrier and an Amstaff, which at this point are two separate breeds, to the point that there's genetic divergence that can differentiate the two breeds from each other in a DNA test. So if your dog is so different from mine that even people who are really new to the dog world, which is genetic scientists and people that are doing breed breakdowns, can tell the difference in their DNA, then they're not the same dog, they're related. They're like cousins, Mm-hmm. They're one and the same, but they're also not.
The UKC American Pit Bull Terrier should be relabeled an American Staffordshire Terrier.
Absolutely. And I think that the people who have refused to, first of all, there's very few real Pit Bull Terriers registered with the UKC. The people that have refused to turn over their Pit Bull Terrier papers for American Bully papers, I think those people should be forced. I think everybody in the UKC should have to send pictures of their dogs. And then I think that a person who's qualified should go over those photos and determine the breed of the dog. Mm-hmm. Because the fact is that there's still so many dogs being mislabeled as pit bull terriers, and the mislabeling to the public is never going to stop until the breeders stop doing it themselves.
100%.